Welcome back, everybody, to the next Rams offseason. We're coming off a very strange year that was very up and down, but we pulled things around towards the end of the year, and we ended up going 9-8, just above 500, but one spot out of the playoffs. We enter this offseason with Wider now up to a superstar development, Williams there too. We still have the receiving core that we've had for the past 2 seasons, but I'm considering changes there, but I might not actually make a change for a couple of reasons. I'll talk about that in a moment, but across this offense at least, I definitely want to bring in at least one better tight end than we currently have behind David Parson to kind of replace Jeff Reinhardt. They won't be as good as him probably, but they can at least fill that role. And then we got to find a new right tackle and also a new right guard, as we did let Avila go and Ramczyk did retire, but I am definitely considering re-signing Avila because he has been great for us these past couple of years and has been a big part of the offensive line being so damn good. But if there's better options, then why not go for better options, right? Now, I talked about receiver for a second, and I'll talk about that here. I think my game plan going into next year is to probably start Trevor Offord as the one over Donald. I know that we've tried this before with Craig, and it didn't really work out that well, but Offord's just his entire rating, his profile is just better in my opinion than Donald's. He's got more speed, acceleration, catching. I think his medium route running is higher, his spec catch is higher, release is lower, but compared to Donald, I just think that Offord is a guy that can give you bigger plays and more of them too. Because, yeah, I mean, catching is lower. Catching traffic is pretty much even for both of them. And I think Offord has better short route too. Donald just has better deep route, but barely any. He has a temporary boost on it there. So the release is really the one thing that's better than Offord, and the jumping is a bit higher too. But one thing I noticed was that on his traits, Donald has no specific possession catch or aggressive catch traits, but Offord does. So this could be a reason why Offord might just be a slightly better option for us at receiver as the one. Now, Donald did end up having just below 1,000 yards this year, 14 yards shy of 1,000, trying to go back to back. And he had a pretty good average this year. But if you look at the games that we watched compared to the games simmed, he was pretty even across those games. And in the sim games, he only had like one good game the entire year, as a true number one receiver should. And that was pretty much against the Vikings. He had 91 yards and a touchdown, had 28 and a score against the Cardinals. We watched the game against the Titans where he had one catch for 28 yards. And against the Colts, 4 for 57 and 1 touchdown. So I'm only going to use the games that we used our new playbook in to really compare the two. But not a single game over 100 yards, barely got to 90 on one of them, and otherwise was pretty bad and inconsistent. For Trevor Offord, he had 115 and no touchdowns against the Vikings, one catch for 5 yards and no touchdowns against the Cardinals. So very polarizing split there. Against the Titans rather, another big day for one touchdown as well. And then against the Colts, he was held to no catches. So Offord, at least, he's a bit of a polarizing player in terms of, is he going to get the ball at all or not? At least last year. But he at least gave you 2 really strong games, which helped us push the ball down the field. I haven't really seen that out of Donald, and he's dropped several passes this season too. So I considered trading him, and I still am thinking about it, but I think that the odds of us getting a receiver in the draft that is better out of the gates than Donald is pretty damn low. And obviously, I've drafted all 3 of our top receivers on our team. In fact, I think our top 4, I've drafted all 4 of them. And I don't know if I want to use another early pick on another receiver. We already have somebody who's, pretty good, and he's like a pretty good number 2 option. So I'm really hoping that Trevor Offord next year can really step up and make the right plays, because if he can't as the number one, then it's going to be tough for us to figure out who really should be the number one. Because if it's not him, then we probably don't have a guy on our team that can play that role. So we're going to play Offord in the one, and hopefully he can be better next season. He's obviously had one really great year. He's shown flashes throughout the other 3 seasons, but hoping to get back to that 1,300 yard or at least 1,000 yards for our number one. So for now, we're going to keep the receiving core the same. We could trade Donald for picks in the draft if we want. There is one guy that I like that could potentially be better than Donald right out of the gates. We'll talk about him soon. Now on defense, I am excited for the future of this defense because Antoine Washington played very well. Warren Terry played well when he was healthy. I thought Baz Knight played better this year than last year when watching, but still not up to his level. And to be honest, as a 91 overall, 27-year-old X Factor on this big of a contract, I really think that he's got to start to really prove himself here, because the last 2 years has been way down from his 15 sack season. Now he's good for at least 5 sacks a year, and obviously missed several games this year. Only played 14 of our 17 games, and missed several games prior to that in other seasons. But he needs to be better as our main pass rusher, because if he's not, then I'm going to trade him away for a couple of picks, no doubt. So this next year for him is a big deal. And also, back to those receivers, one reason why I'm not going to trade Donald right now or offer it is because these guys are both on 1-year contracts. They have 1 year left on their deals. And so this next year with Wagner and a second year is the prove-it year for these guys. Offord does not really have much interest in re-signing with us, but we could still sign him. And then for Donald, he's on a much less cap hit, but it actually would take away more, or would give us more cap room if he was traded, because Offord's thing is only on the bonus. So both guys on 1-year deals. So 1 more year with these guys. We're going to see if one guy can step up and, outshine the other. But I really think that Morgan Stoudemire has been a more consistent receiver for us this year. Or really over the last 2 years, he has dropped way less passes. He's caught touchdowns consistently. And this year he had the highest average per catch of anybody on the team. So I think he's pretty solid. And I think that with Levy at X Factor and us having the best overall player in the entire league in Darius Richards, the defense, if we get a free safety and maybe some depth at a middle linebacker and just overall linebacker, we could be in store for a really solid defense next season, especially if we can stay healthy. I've already gone ahead and made at least 3 negotiations so far to get us down to $3.36 million in cap room. But as we said last episode, Mahomes and Craig are currently the top free agent quarterbacks. I don't know who's offering Craig right now. I'm not going to check until he actually signs, because I don't really care. Mahomes, I do care about, so I'll see who he signs with. But I did not make an offer for Dickerson. I thought about making one for Derwin James, and I definitely will if we don't get the guy that I offered to at safety, because James has the best coverage skills and play rec skills among all safeties available in the open market. So I could move him to free safety if possible. And then JT Byrne, he wants $19 million, which is like all of our cap room, so I can't offer him. So what I did offer was a contract to Ross Leach. We have just the highest offer over Dallas, but he's got 90 speed, 92 agility, pretty decent acceleration, 82 awareness. And in terms of, if we go to available free safeties, we'll show the ratings for him closer. He's got, let's see, where's the play rec? Hold on. He's got 72 play rec, 73 man coverage, but 86 zone coverage is pretty solid. With decent press, the catching's not really there, but is it really for most of these guys? I'm not really sure. So I think he's a better option than Cortland Robertson, who I liked initially, because Robertson only has 64 man coverage and 85 zone with 64 play rec. As a safety, play rec has got to be way higher, and at 64, I'm afraid that he would give up way too many big plays. Because if you look at McKinney here, he had 79 play rec, 80 zone coverage, so automatically it's better coverage skills, at least in zone, for Ross Leach. So I prefer Leach because he also wants less money than Robertson does too. So if we don't end up getting Ross Leach, I'll try and see if we can put together a deal for Derwin James because he has no offers right now. But the other guys that I'm offering currently are Avila to bring him back. I thought that he was great for us and he wants to come back, so I'll be happy with him because he did not regress hardly at all this past offseason. And then Braden Smith was available at right tackle, and he's got around 80 pass block across the board, which is pretty solid. And then his run blocking is way better than Ramchik's was with 90 run block finesse. This could be really big for Matthew Williams if we can bring in Braden Smith. And he only wants $5 million or so. So I'm definitely open to bringing him in. And so with hardly any cap room left, let's go ahead and evaluate to see if we can get these guys on our team. And hopefully we can. So we're going to evaluate. And we have... well, nobody's here yet. So we signed 2 of them. We don't get Ross Leach. So that is unfortunate. But we do get Avila and Braden Smith. So Avila returns, and we have a better right tackle than Ramchik was, in my opinion. Better for the run game, at least. And that should be big for us. But we miss out on Leach. He ends up signing with the Cowboys, while Robertson heads to Arizona. So the top 2 free cities now are gone. There's still no offers for Derwin James, but why do my cap room not count? I'm confused about that. I will offer James as much as I can, but we might have to make a trade or something here to make this deal possible. It's obviously way lower of a cap than he actually wants, but it's still a pretty decent offer. So maybe he takes it before any other offers come through. Let's try this. He evaluates. He's holding out. We're still the only team offering him right now. One more time. And now he's got bigger offers from the Dolphins and the Cardinals. And we're done here in the first stage. So who has signed? Well, the Bears replaced Damon Craig with Patrick Mahomes. He's in Chicago. What in God's name? That is going to be a strange sight. Craig is now a Bronco. So he goes from LA to Chicago and now to the Broncos on a 4-year deal. A $78 million bonus, so big deal for him, bigger than Mahomes. Mahomes is way older, so that makes sense. Dickerson to Oakland or Las Vegas. JT Byrne to the Commanders. We saw the safeties. Keon Taylor to the Saints. Reinhardt is now a Colts. The Bears got another left guard. A couple of signings by the Dolphins, too. A lot of signings by the Dolphins. They had a lot of cap room, I guess. Jesus Christ. Kenneth Murray leaves us and heads to the Colts as well alongside his former teammates. And now new teammate, Jeff Reinhardt. But all the big signings so far, we might have to make a trade to free up some cap room because I would love to get a veteran safety because I haven't even looked at the guys in the draft, honestly. And I don't want to miss out because replacing McKinney is a key part to our defense. There is Budda Baker here who wants a lot less than James, but are his ratings better? Let's see. We look, he's got 83 play rec, 77 man, 78 zone. The play rec is pretty damn high. I mean, I'd be open to signing Budda Baker for sure. He's got good press and good catching too. And he's got the big power on big hits and stuff like that. So I might actually just withdraw for Derwin James because I looked through our team last night and there really aren't a lot of trades that we can make to free up a lot of cap. We are pretty stuck where we're at unless we trade away like, you know, trimming down or something, but I don't want to do that right now. So I'm gonna withdraw the offer for Derwin James right now, and we'll go after Budda Baker here instead. We have the cap room to do so, so I'll lower the offer by a little bit. Maybe I'll increase it back a bit so it's in the green. So he takes the offer. Well, it still is there. Let's stim and see if he takes the offer. And we have brought in a veteran safety. Budda Baker accepts the 1-year deal worth just under $8 million a season, or just for this year. So gonna move him to free safety for now. Or is George Vance a better fit? I don't really think it matters that much. But for now, free safety Buda Baker. So with our 3 signings, we now have, well, I guess moving him out of his position makes him have a lot less interest in us because of the scheme fit. We already have him, so who cares? I'll be sure to think about that next time because the scheme fit was an important part of why he signed. But these 3 signings, pretty key ones for us, I think, but the biggest holes on our team have been filled. And now we have only about 4.5 left in cap room. Probably want to save the rest of it in case we got to sign a free agent next year due to injuries. So probably not going to make any more signings here, but we'll sim through and see what happens. Recap of free agency. We saw the top signings by these couple of teams. The Dolphins ended up signing Derwin James, so they had brought in a lot of new pieces to their team. Damn. A lot of money being spent, but out of cap room. Man, they signed a lot of players, man, huh? Another signing here by Las Vegas. Another defensive tackle for Miami. And McKinney is now in Las Vegas, too. So he's officially gone. Gordon Hoover signs with the Bears. Okay. A new running back alongside Craig over in Denver, DeAndre Mentor. But those were all your major signings here in this free agent class. And by the way, we only have 4 picks in this draft and only 2 in the top 100. We don't have a first round pick, obviously. Lost that in the McKinney trade a couple years ago. So we have our first pick at pick 50. So I'm definitely thinking about trading up, but it might be difficult to even do that because we only have 5 picks or 6 picks in the draft next year. So we got to make sure that we don't, give away all our picks these next couple of years because there's no guarantee that we're going to be actually good. I think we are going to be better and actually a playoff team probably, but there's no guarantee. So I don't want to just give away all these picks again. I want to make these picks and make the right ones too with these selections. So right now in my draft board, got around 30 or so players on it. Got 32 in order of where their projection is. So towards the top, there's a couple of tackles, both agile because I was thinking about right tackle, but now with Braden Smith, we can probably just push that back to a later round pick and hope to, work on somebody like maybe Max Dawson that we already have on the team and train them for at least 1 more year and hope they can be, starter level or a decent level once Smith probably retires after this next year or 2. Now, there are good receivers in this draft, and there's going to be like 4 or 5 going in the first round. McLeod is one of them. We cannot get him, unfortunately. He's going to go before us. So is that Benedict, but Tyree Parker, I think, was going to last until the second round, perhaps. But Trent Sims was my favorite of these receivers. And the reason why is mainly because of his speed. We don't really have a guy with good speed besides Offord who's got only 93. He's our fastest guy on the team on the offense. And we don't have anybody above that. So if we can get somebody like Trent Sims, potentially as our 4th receiver to play over Randolph and potentially give some competition to Tremaine Donald and Morgan Stoudemire, he's got a deep route, which we know that Wagner's a strong arm quarterback, and we can hopefully throw it deep more next year with less picks. But the problem here is despite the great speed and him being the fastest guy in the entire draft class with good acceleration and good overall athletic skills, the catching's at C, the catch in traffic is not high. But really what I'm banking on here is if I take this guy, he's a guy that we can plug in and can hopefully just be sent down the field to outrace somebody and get past either the corner or a safety and be wide open for like a big gain. And this could be a player that I manually put in on our depth chart at certain spots during games if I'm not liking what I'm seeing from somebody like Donald or Trevor Offord or Stoudemire, and just give us more options at receiver. Because right now, we only got really 4 guys to pick from to play. And I would like more options, but he's not supposed to go in the first round, but he might go early second, so who knows. But one other guy that I'm thinking about, I was considering going guard, but because we got Vila back and Smith back, I'm going to point more towards middle linebacker instead. And I found a couple of guys that I really liked, including Carlos Ruiz, who is a scheme fit field general with B's across the board, physical player who has bone-crushing hits. He's got a good motor, great speed, good acceleration, great jumping, good COD, and he's got B zone coverage and A to C man for a guy that's not even a pass coverage linebacker. I mean, kind of shades of Levy, but there's also Deontay Newman too, who's got even better speed and is a better athlete overall. And he's got better man coverage, probably C play rec, and probably A zone coverage, given that he is a pass coverage linebacker. So I'm probably going to use the focus scouting on these linebackers and probably on that receiver to see who I should choose here in the second round, because we cannot miss on this pick. After that, I got a couple of defensive players across the defensive line and in the secondary, because we are kind of thin right now at corner. We could use a fourth one that's better than Caleb Williams. There's also plenty of UDFA picks that I kind of liked down here, and a couple of tight ends too. So there are some options for us with these last couple of picks in the 6th round, but only 4 total picks to make, so who knows what's going to happen. Now we're going to use the private workouts. I'm going to be using it on the receiver, Trent Sims, and then on the linebackers, let's do it on Newman and Ruiz, but I also do like Carey Nance too. I'm really fine with either of the 3 players, so we'll scout these guys. So we get Sims up to 90%. Confirmed, has C catch and traffic, which was the highest possible rating for him. C release, 21 years old. We know about the athletic profile, but overall, I mean, he seems like a guy that is already a pretty good receiver, and he's also very good with the ball in his hands. A ball carrier vision, already has pretty solid awareness, can break some tackles, has decent spec catch, and the route running is actually not that bad across the board. And we could use somebody that has better route running, because that's been kind of a concern. So definitely thinking about taking Trent Sims, even though it's not necessarily a need. It could be the replacement for one of these receivers if we don't want to end up re-signing them. So good to know about him. Got Newman up to 90% too, and he's got A zone coverage as I thought, and elite speed. I think I like him slightly more maybe than Carlos Ruiz, just because overall he seems really damn good and also has probably decent finesse moves. He's got C block shed, but A awareness, C play rec. Ruiz up to 90% too. B play rec, A awareness. So he's a bit more aware. He's probably slightly better overall. But, I mean, both guys are really good options. I could go either way here. They are very similar players. Ruiz might actually be more well-rounded right out of the gate, but who knows if one guy is hidden and one guy's not. Who knows? Newman is 23, I believe, right? And Ruiz is 21. So if you want to go younger, you go with Ruiz. So I think right now, I still prefer him over Newman for now, but still options there. So I might end up actually, if I see one of them go, I might try to trade up from round 3, because I would love to get Sims and one of these linebackers. That would be probably my perfect second round if possible. And then just go with some backup linemen and tight ends on your last couple of picks. So let's go ahead and get right down to business and start this draft and see where things shake out. We don't have a first round pick or a top 49 pick, so we're gonna just sim the first round at least and see where things are at the start of round 2. Saints have the first overall pick, and they select left tackle Roman McKinley out of Florida State. Cardinals bring in Manny Davidson, the other tackle. And now the Jets go right outside linebacker Chuck Blatchford, also out of FSU. Then Jermaine Claxton to the Texans. First quarterback off the board is Juan Cabrera to the Commanders. Another tackle goes to the Bengals. There's the Jaguars taking McLeod out of Notre Dame. There goes Tyree Parker right after him. So 2 receivers gone so far. There goes an edge rusher. Next quarterback, Quinnen Jacobs. New quarterback over in Green Bay, I guess. And then Lance Kovacs is going to be the quarterback over in Cleveland. I'm pretty sure Cleveland had like a lot of cap room, so I imagine they made a couple of signings too. There goes the third receiver, Thad Benedict. Other tackle, Randall Ross. Patriots go tackle 2. Mason Rose. Defensive tackle for Chicago. Giants take Curtis Bronson. And the Dolphins go Shaq McCutcheon. Last 12 or so picks here in the first round. There goes the first safety off the board. And then Jamal Bailey to San Fran. So he was a pretty good corner out of Ohio State. So we're going to have to face him going forward. Floyd Pettis, the 4th receiver off the board, goes to the Colts. Alongside Jeff Reinhardt and McKinney. Or not McKinney. Or was it? No, I think it was. Or no, it was Kenneth Murray. That's who it was. Dolphins on the clock. Or Lions, Jesus. Ben Allen. Chiefs go running back. Eric Oglesby, who was pretty sick. He was a receiving back. Another running back goes to Carolina. Seattle takes another safety. Approaching the end here of the first round. Giants back on the clock. They select Eric Shepard, and now final pick, the Titans, the champions. They go Andrew Shepard. All right, so now we're about 18 or so picks from ours. I'll sim the first 5 or so and then consider trading up, but let's just take the draft board real quick. We got Demarius Ray as the top receiver, and then Trent Sims. I'll probably wait until Ray goes, and then see if we can trade up to go for Sims if possible. And then save our later second round pick for one of the linebackers. Really hope Sims does not go here in the first 2 picks or so. There goes Pittman, Anthony Leach. The Jets take 1 pick. They take Trent Sims. Okay, so no point in trading up now. That sucks. It's going to be a tough trade up either way. Do we like anybody else? I have already looked through. I wasn't necessarily a fan of anybody else. So probably just going to let this shake out. Unless we want to go after Demarius Ray. But I was looking for a speedy guy, and he's not speedy. Compared to the rest of the class. Especially because he's got marginal acceleration despite great speed. Otherwise, he's a great athlete. But I think I would rather just save our pick now for the middle linebackers. And just look for receiver next year if we don't get a good year out of our 2 top guys. The Bengals just took Damian Lowry, who we thought about drafting before we figured out that Wagner was better than we thought. Cowboys take Demarius Ray. And we are approaching our next pick. Or our first pick, really. A couple of safeties go. No middle linebackers yet. Goes a tight end. Nick Westerman. Another quarterback, Javier Brown. And now the Bears on the clock. They take a corner. So now we have the option of the linebacker that we want, I guess. There are still guards here, but I'm taking a linebacker for sure because we've seen that Ernest Jones, Murray, and Levy all got plenty of playing time last year. So we need a good third linebacker out there. And I think I like Ruiz more than Newman. He's taller as well. And his coverage skills really aren't that much worse than Newman's. He's younger. He's like a slightly better athlete, I think, right? Or pretty similar. Maybe Newman's better, actually. I mean, both... this is... Now I'm kind of second-guessing myself here. I think I'll still take Ruiz, I think. Let's take him. He is hidden development, 88 speed too. So we'll compare him to Deontay Newman and Kerry Nance, but I'm happy with this pick, especially now that he is hidden development. So another piece to our defense alongside Levy to kind of be the replacement for Ernest Jones in a couple of seasons, but he'll get some playing time immediately. The Ravens draft Deontay Newman here at pick 24, so we'll check on that later on. Back on the clock here in the 3rd round. What do we do here? There is Roderick Porter, who's a deep threat receiver at 50% scouted. Is he fast, though? Good speed, elite acceleration, but D catching, C deep route, C awareness. No, thank you. He's dropped for a reason. A defensive tackle up there. We've got 4 on the roster. Really could use depth at both end positions, but otherwise are probably fine across the entire defense, to be honest with you. Just looking for probably a better tight end, maybe a better backup center, and then a better backup left tackle. That's probably what I'm shooting for here. But if there's a good corner here, I might just take him because we can take the other guys later on. Can't get all the guys that I want, I don't think, unless we trade back and acquire a couple extra picks this year. But I think right here, we've seen that our 4th corner has gotten plenty of playing time. So there is Michael Rogers here. B-man coverage, C zone, deep press, B catching, aggressive ball hawk for better or worse. But he's very slow. I will pass on him. Matt Goldson also has deep press, worse worse man coverage and catching, and poor speed. So let me not do either of those guys. Is it worth taking a tight end here at this pick? Maybe. Or do you go with Brian Stewart? He's day 3 though. I think here I would rather go after one of these tight ends. What do you like more? We got BJ Traynor, who's a pretty good run blocker, which was one of the highlights for Reinhardt's. He's very fast too. It's hard to tell though with these amount of ranges. There's also Michael Lennon, elite strength, great speed but poor acceleration, good run blocker and good short route runner, and good catch in traffic. Traynor had A to C in traffic and A to C shorts. Probably pretty similar. And then Shelton Scott, great speed, poor acceleration. I think I like Lennon or BJ Traynor more. And I think the better guy is probably Lennon. But the acceleration's pretty poor. What about Traynor? He's got decent with great speed. He had the fastest dash. Let's take him instead. BJ Traynor, backup tight end. He's hidden dev. Hell yes. Okay. Solid first 2 picks here, I think. 85 speed too. So another piece to our offense now. And right after our pick, the Dolphins take Michael Lennon. So I'm glad I made that selection here. Now we can sim to our next pick in the 4th round. Pick 18. Porter just came off the board. Roderick Porter's still there. He's been falling all this way. Matt Goldson's still here, but I cannot in good conscience take that slow of a corner. So what about Delonte Reeves or Stewart? Who do you like more? Both day 3 picks. C's across the board. Savvy defender with the ball in the air, which is nice to see. Decent speed. Great acceleration. That's good. Now the F play rec is a massive problem. That's going to be hard to bring out of the mud. For Brian Stewart, good speed, good acceleration, but just pretty solid athlete overall. C power moves, C play rec, C awareness. Probably has better power moves than, or better finesse and blocks than a D. So I think I will take Stewart instead because we need some depth at left end anyways. So we take him. He's normal dev, but 82 speed, 84 strength. Should be decent, I think. We go all the way to round 6 for our last pick of the draft. Unless we want to trade this back and try and get some of the UDFAs that we liked. Probably have to sign a fullback. That's fine. I'd rather draft a lineman instead. And we could really use a backup. Well, we have plenty of right tackles. Could be one of those guys to left tackle. We could use a backup center to replace Nick Harris. So I'll choose between these two guys. I got Dylan Howard here. Agile with great speed, good change of direction, great agility. Power's not there, but the finesse is there for sure. Okay. And then Tucker Fowler, elite speed, elite agility, so a better athlete, but the power is way worse. The finesse, you don't really know about. I think I like Howard more. Let's take him. He's normal dev as expected, but I think he'll at least be, you know, not horrible. But now that's pretty much it for our draft. 4 picks. I think we did the most that we could here. Let's see how we did. Moment of truth. The draft recap. Ruiz is a 74 overall middle linebacker, while Trainer's a 73, and both were hidden. Okay. I really like those picks now. While Stewart was a 67 overall left end, so definitely, you know, decent depth. Nothing special, but decent. While Howard was actually not too good, but we'll check these profiles real quick. Ruiz, 74 overall, head and development player, and I gotta say I like these ratings. The zone coverage can definitely be improved over the course of a year or two, and will be at a pretty good level. And with 88 speed, 73 player right out of the gates, good acceleration, good pursuits, already 78 awareness. That is really good for a linebacker, and also 98 injury. I mean, this is the kind of guy you want on your team. Then we drafted BJ Trainer, who is a head and dev tight end, so he might actually be better than David Parson, because Parson was a normal dev player like Reinhardt was too, I think. I think Reinhardt earned star dev maybe, and then went back down to normal after a year or two. But Trainer here, 85 speed, already high awareness too. The short route's pretty decent, but needs to work on the other route running, but definitely a really good backup tight end for sure. Now for Brian Stewart, the normal death power rusher. He's got only 68 power moves, so it's going to be tough for him to really contribute here in year 1, I think. And then for Dylan Howard, 63 agile, normal dev lineman. The finesse is definitely lower than I thought it was going to be. But it's not bad, and the powers, you know, the power can be worked on. He can, after like, you know, 2 years of training, could actually be like a 70. Like he could pretty much have 70s across the board for all of the blocking traits. But just gotta really hope that Zach McCoy stays healthy, because Howard's not very good right now. And no shock to me that McLeod was the best player by far in the draft. 82 overall. Head in developments. I mean, this dude is an absolute beast. Man, I wish we had a first round pick this year, because I would have loved to get him. He also has aggressive catch and possession, just like Offord does. So kind of a similar player to Trevor Offord, just a bit better out of the gates. Now, other draft, I mean, he was by far the best overall player. A couple other picks by some teams here that were some really good picks. Kerry Nance was a 75 head in dev, so he would have been a really good pick too. 91 speed, so faster than Ruiz. And the player is pretty high, awareness is high. Less zone coverage, but only by, I think, 1 point. So he was also a great pick. So good pick there by the Texans. Very smart selection. There was another linebacker, Denton Urban. Run stopper, he's hidden dev as well. Okay, so solid picks there. And then, where was Deontay, whatever his name was? Deontay Newman, 72. He is hidden dev, pass coverage. Okay, yeah, we definitely made the right choice here. He just is not as good overall as the other guys. So I like that play, or that pick. But now for the quarterbacks, let's take a look. You got Juan Cabrera, who is hidden development, 72 overall, strong arm. Pretty good profile, you know, he's got the deep accuracy and the strong arm and all that stuff. Let's check his depth traits. I'm curious. He is a star, okay. And then you also had Quentin Jacobs drafted. He's a 71 normal. And I liked him a lot. He ends up being... Oh, well, I don't know why I just checked that because I had the depth trait right there in my face. And then you had Lance Kovacs by the Browns, also hidden dev. And he is a star as well. So round one quarterbacks weren't anything special. What about the second round? Yeah, Damian Leak, who I also liked. He was hidden dev scrambler, 72 overall. And he is a superstar. So I guess I liked him for a reason. It was pretty good. What about Trent Sims, though? He was a 74 normal dev receiver, so I'm kind of glad I did not trade up for him. But he's got 95 speed, 93 agility, go jumping. I mean, he could have been a really nice player for us. Would have been our fastest receiver on the team. He also has the aggressive catch, possession catch, all the stuff that we need for our actual receivers. But that's okay. Did I check McLeod's dev trait, by the way? He's probably an X Factor. Let's just check that real quick. And he is an X Factor. Yep, that's not a shock. So great pick by the Jaguars there. Let's just go through each round to see who the top picks were. Top pick in the second round was a running back, but there were still a lot of good picks here. So pretty damn good draft. Overall, just a really strong draft class, I think. Round 3, you had a 76 overall right guard go. My God. It's a really nice pick. So Gunter, I think I had both him and Hamilton on my board. Definitely could have taken them, but I think we made the right moves. Round 4, top pick was defensive tackle Darrell Melton. In the 5th round, it was Anthony Walton, a center. And then round 6, Dave McPhee. Really, 3 receivers here were all pretty solid, although the speeds were pretty damn low, all below 90. Round 7, best pick was Grant Corbett here at the left end, followed by 2 more receivers. So I think in the end, you know, we did what we could with our draft, and I like our picks so far. I won't check their depth traits until we have them actually revealed to us during the season, but I'm happy with what we've done this offseason for sure. In terms of fullback, I think I'm going to sign Chuck Johnson here. He's a really good blocking fullback. So why not just bring him in for 1 year? I also need to really sign a running back as like a third guy. I need to just get somebody who's kind of fast, like Israel Banikanda. Just sign him for 1 year. I'm considering playing Offord in the slot this year. He seems like he would be a better fit there than Stoudemire, but then would he be your number 1? I mean, he'd be playing kind of a Cooper Kupp-esque role if that was the case. I'm down to try it. Just to see what happens to start the year. I think that's a decent idea. And we're going to play Emmanuel Forbes in the slot this year over Terry Hackett, I think. Just to see if that will improve our defense a slight bit. But going into our 8th season with the Rams, this is your offense going into this next year. Offensive line is the same aside from the right tackle. We place Ramchick with Braden Smith. We obviously drafted BJ Traynor to play behind David Parson for now, but he could find his way up there. But Parson was great for us last year, I thought. Offer will be the new number 1 receiver over Donald's, but both guys are on the last year of their contracts, with Stoudemire behind them and then Randolph at the 4. At quarterback, Wagner returns with McAllister behind him. Williams, the running back, of course, with Davis and Abanikanda after him. And Chuck Johnson, your fullback. As the backups, we're going to have Fitzsimmons be the backup center for now, in case McCoy goes down, but he'll also be the backup left guard. So if both go down, he'll be playing left guard instead. And on defense, we're going to have Levy and Ernest Jones lead the defense as the linebackers, with Ruiz getting plenty of playing time behind them. Finch and Baslin on either side of those two. Vance as strong safety. Buda Baker at free safety, with Richards and Forbes returning as your top two corners candidates. Washington and Terry as your interior defensive linemen. And then obviously we have Dunway Q as the kicker, Tommy Townsend as our punter, and we've got these specialist roles as well. Looking for just to pick off where this team left off on that 7-game win streak. Looking to continue that win streak to start this next season. So I think we'll blow through preseason real quick here and see what happens, and then just get ready for week 1 next time out. We got training camp standout here for Antoine Washington, apparently, before we get into the regular season. And for him, got to improve the rush and the passer, because he had, I think, 5 sacks last year. Would love to get more this year. Have him maybe go up to superstar depth trade at some points. He gets +3 power and finesse moves. Huge for the second-year pass rusher. We end up going 1-2 in preseason, but we apparently had the top passing offense. Not going to put too much stock into the team rankings, obviously, because that doesn't really matter that much. But for the stats, at least, let's take a look. Wagner, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, 64% completion percentage, rating of 97.3. Okay. But no, that was McAllister. Wagner had a great rating, about 112. Way better completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, no picks. McAllister just played more than him, but YPA was pretty much the same for both players. And a lot of sacks, 8 sacks on McAllister, 6 on Wagner, in 3 games only. That's 14 total. The backups must have given up a lot of stuff, but on the ground, Williams 4.2 per carry, 1 touchdown. Wagner ran twice, once for a score. No fumbles for us, plenty of broken tackles for Williams and our running backs as a whole. Receiving wise, Trevor Alford had a massive preseason. 106 yards per game, 3 touchdowns. Don't tell me that he's in store for a good year, huh? I mean, Jesus. Great numbers here across the board in all 3 games. So, really hope that he can come into his own this year with Wagner as the quarterback. That would be nice. Down only had 8 grabs for 102. Looks like Alford just got, 26 receptions, way more than anybody else by a long shot. In the slot, no less. So I think he's definitely primed to start in the slot this year for sure. That is impressive. Blocking-wise, Wills gave up 4 in 3 games. Howard gave up 3. So the backups with Howard, Fitzsimmons, Wilson, and Thomas gave up the bulk. Teal gave up 1, Avila 1, and Wills 4. So concerns about Jedrick Wills here after that. Levy had the most tackles for loss, Carl Graham, and 2.5 sacks for Terry. Where is Washington? How did he even... He had 1 tackle for loss, that was it. How did he break out? And I'll take it. We had no INTs, though. Deflections, we had a lot of deflections. My God. So at least that's good. Fumble recoveries, none, but 1 was forced by Warren Terry. And then lastly, kicking. Koo was good on field goals, but missed a PAT apparently, but that's fine. I guess we had the best offense overall in preseason, so really hope that Alford can, do that much damage in the actual season. But we're going to start against the Brock Purdy Niners in week 1 on the road. But first, we got to cut some players. So definitely going to cut some corners probably. Going to move Zach Harris to our practice squad, and we're probably going to end up cutting Pat Burks. But not yet. We end up signing most players to our practice squad. We also released Joe Baldwin and Justin Billups, but no major moves here for the cuts for us. Upgrade point for Baz Knight, and for him, let's try power moves. Just get him to be still a pretty well-rounded guy, but really hope that he can get at least 10 sacks this next year for us. I really hope so. And for George Vance, hoping for a few more incompletions, maybe a couple of picks and coverage. Let's work on the man coverage again. Do hybrid. Hope we get some play rec there too. And we don't get play rec, we got +1 man coverage. Matthew Williams going to go elusive. Trying to get this guy to around like an 85 overall. Hopefully by year's end. And plus the awareness is pretty nice. And we got Daniel Levy. Going to go field general for the X Factor linebacker. A lot of good stuff here. And for Wagner, could go field general, but would it help to do scrambler or improviser? Let's do this one more time, but I think going forward I might try to go and improve the under pressure. I mean, we do get that here, but still got to work on the short accuracy because it's still at like an 80 overall, which is not good enough. But he's on his way. He is improving. And we got one for Terry Hackett, and for him, let's do more man-to-man. The zone coverage is not going to be saved, so just got to focus on this now. And lastly, Carlos Ruiz. He's all the way up to a 75 overall and close to his next upgrade point too. +2 zone coverage. It's great. Awesome. Gonna open the year, as I said, against the Niners, and apparently both teams are pretty similar overalls. So we'll see. They made the playoffs last year. We were one game out from making it, so should be a fun game as it typically is against this team. But I'm going to use some staff points to start the season, and I kind of want to use it on the offense, but what should I use it on? Why not boost the catching twice, you know? We've got the points to do it, so +2 catching for not only the receivers, but also tight ends. So that should help us out again this year with the catching and the receivers. So really looking for a good offensive year this time around. We have won 7 games in a row coming into week 1 of year 8. We'll do all this stuff as we go into year 8 next time around, guys. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Take care, like and subscribe, all that good stuff, and let me know your thoughts on the draft picks that we made and on the signings that we made as well. I'll see you guys next time around. Peace out.